Hey YouTube! So yesterday we took a little bit of a trip. Me and my dad were home by ourselves. There was no mother to entertain us, so we decided to take a trip. And one of my, I don't know, it's kind of a bit of a tradition now, is that some point during the fall, because Arizona is virtually hot most of the time, I want to go to a place that feels a little more fall-like. So we take some trip either up to Flagstaff, Prescott, somewhere up where there's higher elevation where it just naturally is a little bit chillier. And so we went yesterday to Jerome. And what I did not know about Jerome until that long ago was that it's actually a hugely haunted town. It is like everything that you would think of when you think old western like town with like prostitution and drinking and a bunch of outlaws and all that. Like that is Jerome. Like, and it's an old mining town in Arizona, so, and it's way up on the plateau, so really high elevation, surrounded by pine trees on the side of this like huge mountain cliff area. And so we went, and it was, just the trees alone are gorgeous to me. Like, just being surrounded by pine trees again just makes me feel so much better. But then beyond that, there's just, because it's kind of a haunted town and the spookiness and all that, right? I don't know why, but old places like that have so much history. Didn't see any ghosts, spoiler alert, but overall just feeling the history of a place, right? Like knowing there was this old theater that looked just so beautiful, and there was this old mine that was off in the distance that we didn't go on. We didn't do any ghost tours because I was too busy having delicious wine. But the whole town just had this feeling to it that felt like, oh, like such an old story was told here. So many stories have been told here. And it's funny because I didn't realize that that fall feeling, that kind of like old history feeling to a place, felt so much like my old house. I grew up in an old Victorian house that was over 120 years old. So creaks and knowing people had died in the house and knowing the history of the house, that type of thing is something that I have done ever since I was little. I was 2 until I was 18 in that place. And like things would creak, and there's parts of it that just always didn't work quite right, and like, you know, when the wind goes through the house it just naturally kind of like creaks and settles and weird noises happen, and that's just kind of normal. And that whole town had a bit of that, right? Like there's old saloon bars that were still up and functioning. There was a lot of places that were like just abandoned for like 30 years or more, and just recently were getting a little more refurbished and stuff like that, right? And then on top of that, we went to a couple wineries, and there was a bunch of occultism and pagan and witchy like elements all within it. There's one place called Cabal and it was all about wines, all based on like random conspiracy theories and stuff like that, which was fun. The bartender or the wine taster there, I'll pop some pictures. He was very fun, and he had a bunch of really into like Roman history, the old Roman cults, things of this nature, so that was fun. We got to talk about that. And then we met James, who was awesome. Apparently, I think he's into Asteru, possibly not, because he definitely had a Thor's hammer, and we were talking a little bit about symbols and stuff at that one. And then there was another winery that we went to that had like, it had Hermes staff on all of the bottles, had the flower of life. There was a huge Ganesh like just sitting there in the bar, like like I was like definitely vibing well with all of that for sure. So it was a really great, wonderful time. So I guess you'll have been seeing a bunch of B-roll all throughout this, but it's just nice to get away to someplace, you know, especially if there is a bit of spook or a little bit of what I call history in some place. Sometimes I wonder if I block ghosts from coming to see me, and or there's a little bit of like, I don't know you, I'm not calling you in till they talk to me or to appear to me. I don't know you. I don't need to talk to you. And I hope like it's interesting when I feel people like go off and like try to find ghosts, like they're looking for a paranormal experience to like see what's going to happen. Sometimes it's just like learn the history, learn these people's stories, learn what was going on. One of the funniest thing that was there was that we saw this old building off in the distance while I was at this one winery, and there was like just raining and there's this beautiful rainbow. It was gorgeous in all of the ways. And to top that all off, there was a building out in the distance and it didn't have a roof. And I was like, well, it looks really well upkept. Like the garden around it looked nice, like the outside building just didn't have a roof. So we had to ask the patron there, going like, hey, what's with the no roof on the building? Like, is that an old haunted thing that they're upkeeping? Like, what's going on there? They're like, oh no, that was an old inn that the owner of the mine built for the miners so he could, like, you know, get them on every way with a paycheck, and then he would take their money later for rent. And I'm like, yeah. And he goes, and when he sold it, he decided that he was going to be extra petty and he was going to take the roof with him because it was copper, and copper was so valuable. And I'm like, wait, the man built this thing and then took the roof when he left? Greedy man. But like right there, like just knowing that little piece of history and just like staring at that building and knowing the type of man that basically owned the whole town is so interesting. Anyway, that has been my little vlog for today. It's part of YouTuber. Also, by the way, my outfit is just, I bought this beautiful skirt there. I did a little bit of shopping while we were there too, so I got some crystals and a couple other things. And yeah, so I will see y'all tomorrow.